Welcome to Understanding the Property World post-COVID-19. Today we're going to have a look at Scotland and more specifically Glasgow. IPG have invested in Scotland quite a lot over the years, but always been focused on Edinburgh. Although we have tried to do deals in Glasgow, never managed to pull off the right deal. Not easy to find stock. But let's talk about Scotland overall, and we'll move on to Glasgow a little bit later. Well, in terms of attractiveness for foreign direct investment, Scotland's recently voted as the number 2 market outside of London. And despite uncertainties surrounding Brexit, estimated GDP in 2018 was 170 billion. But I think the most striking stat that I've read in looking at all of this is unemployment. Most people know unemployment in Scotland have been high over the years as it's tried to migrate away from traditional industries like shipbuilding, steelwork, etc., through to more modern industries and service-related businesses. Unemployment was 8.8% in 2010, and now it's 3.5%. It's just come down and down. I mean, the UK unemployment is 3.9%, so it shows you how well Scotland has done in terms of changing its focus on industry. Okay, let's look at Glasgow now. Glasgow is the 3rd most populous city in the UK, biggest one in Scotland. 1.7 million people living in Glasgow, and because it's a young city in terms of the average ages and the amount that's going on there, which I'll talk about soon, they forecast 175,000 more people in Glasgow in the next 15 years, which is pretty much the same growth rate as Paris and New York and LA, which is very impressive. What's also interesting is the way they've really grabbed onto this whole technology economy, which we've seen in London, we've seen it in Lisbon, and those cities have really benefited from that. You know, we were buying property in Hoxton and Shoreditch 15 years ago, this famous now Silicon Roundabout on the City Road, and average property prices have gone up by crazy amounts there because people earn a lot more money in technology, young people want to work in technology, and it really is the heartbeat of a lot of cities now. And any city that wants to move with the times is trying to get on this bandwagon. Well, Glasgow's definitely done that. In 2017, they had 1.31 billion in the local economy, which is all around the tech sector. And in addition to this, 50% of all Scotland's students reading electronics, mechanics and software are based in Glasgow. So you can see what they're trying to do there in terms of getting those industries really moving. Salaries for the tech industry averaged £37,500 compared to Scottish national average salary of 28,000. So this is where these places want to be. The digital strategy has ensured that Glasgow is awarded number 2 in the UK in terms of CBRE's UK Tech Cities report, and that's behind London. So again, very, very impressive. But moving on beyond that, what else is going on in Glasgow? Well, we always look at student numbers, very important in cities. You know, we've done a lot of investment in Berlin, where they have the highest student numbers in Germany. Glasgow, the same in Scotland. They've got the highest retention rate of students in the UK, meaning people who actually stay there after they've finished. We want students to stay in the city when they graduate. They're the future renters and buyers of property. Glasgow is the number 1 in the UK's core cities for financial and business service graduates, number 1 for life sciences, number 1 for digital technology. Throughout the four universities in Glasgow, there are over 160,000 students enrolled. Again, lots of young people who will be future spenders of money. So we like Glasgow. It sounds great. You've got the digital economy, you've got student numbers, growing population. What about transport links? Well, we've got HS2 that will be there in 2026. We know it's happening now. We've seen how much investment's gone into Manchester, into Birmingham. And why not now see that similar amount of investment go into Glasgow? We've been very aggressive with Manchester and Birmingham. It's served us extremely well, but people working in industry in Glasgow, living in cheaper houses, incomes are cheaper, who can get on the high-speed network and be down in London. It's going to be fantastic for businesses that are wanting to commute in and out from time to time from Glasgow. Obviously, you can get down into London and then get across the Eurostar as well. So that's a huge driver of these big core cities that sit along HS2. But let's look at the property market now, and at supply level, something we always like to focus on. So number of houses needed in the next 10 years. Glasgow needs 1,300. That's significant when you consider that in the last 10 years, they've only managed to supply just over 1,000 properties a year. And they need 1,300 properties every single year for the next 10 years. So their supply levels are challenged. Birmingham undoubtedly is probably the biggest standout in the UK, who are only supplying 900 properties a year and need 4,000. But in terms of Scotland, it's a no-brainer that once again, they're struggling to find those properties. Population in Glasgow, 33% of them are aged 15 to 34. They need somewhere to live, and the city isn't producing enough property at the moment. So that all bodes really well in terms of the supply-demand levels and potential price inflation over coming years. So finally, I'm just going to have a quick look at prices and forecasts for property values in the coming years. Well, Glasgow, less popular perhaps traditionally than Edinburgh. It's a neighbour, but property prices are £230,000 on average, whereas Edinburgh is £295,000. Average yields in Glasgow are higher than Edinburgh. You're looking at a range of 4.7 to 5% net yields, and average monthly rents for a two-bedroom flat of about £860. So it stacks up. It's cheap. The market's strong. You can see that unemployment levels are lower and average incomes are up. Anything from 15.4% to 21% over the next 5 years. But again, it very much depends on where you invest and how close you can get to infrastructure and transport links. But a very strong forecast for Glasgow over the coming years. Undoubtedly, it'll have its challenges coming out of COVID, just like everyone else. In Scotland, some of the businesses are not yet back. They've taken things a little bit slower in some areas, and so obviously that will have an impact. But talking with a few of the agents, reading the reports, looking at Retty, who do a lot of the reports on real estate in Scotland, the numbers are crazy in the last couple of weeks. People are needing to buy, people are needing to move, people who were buying and got stalled back in the market. So online instructions, agent instructions are increasing rapidly. You know, I really like the look of Glasgow. I really like the look of the market. The dynamics are very similar to a number of markets that we've invested in before. So it's got a big thumbs up from us. I hope this was helpful. And as always, look forward to speaking to you again soon, and stay safe.